Hi, Guido Fox here. Welcome by a new book report. Today I want to discuss with you this wonderful book from Yogananda, Whispers from Eternity, spiritual book, spiritual development from this wonderful spiritual teacher Yogananda, nearly 300 pages of knowledge about spiritual awakening and personal development. And he was really an enlightened teacher. He was really an enlightened spiritual master. I read that in his book. He talks a lot about ecstatic feelings of happiness, ecstatic, mentioning a lot of times this word. And when a Friday like Osho also wrote a lot of times about inner ecstaticness, with the combination that this guy was meditating a bunch of hours per day, one or two, but also one day in the week, more than 6 hours per day. So the duration of meditation and his words in this book, ecstaticness, he mentioned that a lot of times ecstatic feelings, then I know for sure that he found some inner body awakening. And that is, I think, the signal above all those other teachers like Eckhart Tolle or Krishnamurti or David Hawkins, who talk about, I think, more the rational, psychological, behavioral aspects of spirituality, what is quite okay to read and is a kind of pre-stage development into the world of spirituality. Um, but if you want to read really from enlightened teachers, you read ecstaticness and you read that they do a lot of more meditation hours than currently the 15 minutes after you waking up. It's not enough to reach further into inner chakra body awakening. Okay, let's start with the first page, is page number 8, and that is about the free will. Yes, we have as human beings and free will. God gave us above the animals. We are above animals and we have a soul and we are able to reach enlightenment, do a lot of meditation work, coaching, reflecting, mirroring, and knowing about the ego, psychologic, behavioral patterns. Animals have no choice. They following a lot of times their animalistic instinct. So that's the difference between humans in general. There are a lot of humans who live close to nature and also close to instinct. But we have the power. God, universe gave humans the power to develop themselves towards higher enlightenment stages. A side note, yes, we are higher than animals. That's also that we have a responsibility towards the world and towards the animals. So, how higher you go in your consciousness, the highest is Jesus, Buddha, or so. How higher you go in your consciousness, how more responsibility you have for your surrounding. That's important to understand. So no ego here, no I am enlightened, I feel inner ecstaticness, I'm so blissful and you not other human and you not other animal. No, you care and responsibility. You carry responsibility to be centered and to share and to give the people in your surroundings the best example what's possible. So keep that in mind. High consciousness is high responsibility. As a side note, we have a free will. Osho said, I mentioned Osho next to Yogananda, that's nice to compare. Osho said, how more consciousness, how more you free will expand. So we have a free will as humans, but how more consciousness, how more meditative you become, how more you can enjoy your free will without the pressures from society, without the pressures from the matrix, without the condemning pressures and the group pressures of the matrix, and you can choose your own way of living without being afraid, without being afraid to lose yourself, without being afraid to becoming bankrupt, without being afraid to lose close people who were so-called friends of you, or to lose family, or to lose your partner even. So when you become more consciousness, when you become more aware, you expand and enjoy your free will, right? So it's an expanding mechanism. You're not afraid to choose for yourself, and you're not affected by the conditionings from the matrix. So yeah, when we're raising up in all those kind of systems, the school systems, the family systems, the people who have influence on you, and on a certain moment you go into meditation and I bring you self-leadership. I don't want to influence you. I don't want to say this right or wrong. I'm not a moral father for you or a moral mother for you. I want that you create self-leadership in your soul. So, and then your consciousness become higher, and then your free will expand, and you enjoy really, really the decisions you make in life, and you're 100% convinced about that direction in life that you choose. And if you're not into spirituality, if you're still walking robot zombie from the conditionings where you came from, you think you have a free will, but you haven't. You're just following the triangles of the matrix, triangles of society. You're in the path of society, and you're kind of brave sheep. You have to be, I'm still by Osho, you have to be a misfit. You have to misfit your surroundings, because then you can grow in your spiritual fragrancy. If you're not a misfit, you're doing something really stupid. You are not raising above crowd consciousness. You can only grow out of crowd consciousness if you're a misfit. Osho was a misfit, Buddha was a misfit, and Jesus was also a misfit. Only a misfit can expand his consciousness, and only a misfit is really can enjoy his free will in optima forma. Osho, how more consciousness, how more free will, how better decisions you make in life. Yogananda said, how more consciousness, how less able you are misuse your consciousness. So as Osho saw it from the more positive way, is expanding consciousness, and you expand your free will and you make better decisions. Yogananda is more from the negative view, and that's not necessarily negative, but he is saying actually, okay, if you found consciousness, you are probably are not taking the bad decisions in life. And that's true too. Two people found both true visions, I think. Because if you're raising your consciousness, probably drugs is not needed, probably crime is not needed. So all the egoistic desires will disappear. And that's also a wonderful philosophy how you can see the free will. So Yogananda said, okay, when you raise up your consciousness, the chance to misuse your free will for bad attitudes will disappear. The chance will be low that you're going into criminality, into violence, into drugs, into egoistic behavioral patterns. And Osho said, how more you raise your consciousness, how more your free will expands, and how better decisions you are able to make in life. So I think the both visions will come ultimately together about this free will concept, and ultimately will give a higher consciousness you a better life, right? That is actually what the both guys, the both enlightened masters say about this free will concept. Going to the next pages, page number 13. Page number 13 is going about that spirituality is breaking through the boundaries of family affection and larger the realm of friendship and service to all. Let me explain. You raise up in your family, and actually you're conditioned to only serve the family. Your sister, your brother, your parents, your mother is caring for you, and you're caring for your mother. Your father is taking care of you, and you're taking care of your father. You're taking care of your sister, and you grow up in this small, tight family system. And without meditation and without influencing further from spiritual masters, the affection will be not expanding. We have like free will expanding, what I told you earlier, but there's also a chance that your affection could be expanding. And that's only possible further than the boundaries of the family. You grow out of the family condition, and that is expanding too. So your free will expands, but also your urge to share, your affection, you share your spiritual love, because spirituality is not only inwards, it's not only meditation, it's not an egoistic me operation. It's also inward outwards. It's an inward stream and it's an outward stream, right? So more meditation, how more you want to share your spiritual ecstaticness towards the world. Well, I share my affection with this video, with these videos to the world, right? So I'm inward, but I am also an outward, energetic guy person, right? So it's also one of the biggest mistakes. Actually, two mistakes is not going too much meditation, because that's very egocentric. You have to give money to the poor people and you're doing too much for yourself. You're so egocentric. That's the one mistake from the conditionings of the matrix. The matrix pressures kills that very important inward journey, because if you're doing not that inward journey, your giving will be not so big towards other if your inner system is not working well. So your inward journey is even important as your external journey. So the first mistake is listen to the matrix people who are saying prevent you from your inward journey, because they sticker it as an egocentric process. And the other mistake is that you're going too much into an inward journey and never share your wisdoms, your ecstaticness to the outside world, right? So I make videos, I'm social day love, day game, I share compliments on the street. I have my dates, I have my friends around me, my social circles, so they get something from my energy, I think. So it is a 50% inward journey and a 50% outward journey, but always expanding the family boundaries. Too much people are still stuck in the family system and only take care about the family always the family is most important, and they forgot the rest of the world, to strangers, right? They never talk to strangers. They stay quite formal in business relationships. So they never have the affection to go further than the boundaries of the family. I think that is a very important point, tipping point. What Yogananda mentioned there. Of course, if your family, please love them, not say goodbye, but also think more outside this dynamic. Page 15, the Aurora of Intuition. Yeah, when you're going into meditation, your intuition works so unbelievable good. Your intuition is your biggest analytical power, Yogananda said in his work. So the biggest analytical power, the biggest rational power is even intuition. And I was listening to my intuition and tells me something different than the people were surrounding, and the people that were surrounding always said, "Oh, I don't think you're right. You're not right." And after years and years, I was nearly always, right about some developments or decisions or circumstances, what happened in the world of my life or the other people's life. So my intuition is very high. I can feel a lot, and I trust my intuition more and more because my free will expands, right? So my free will expands, and I've trusted, rooted in my chakra ecstaticness, and I trust my intuition more and more because I trust universe, I trust my rootedness, inner awakening, and I trust my decision to trust my intuition, right? So I trust the decision I make to trust my intuition, and not so because of self-knowledge, not so hanging or trust the people in my surrounding or strangers or other people, and they had not the long hours and years of meditation that I have. So that could be a little bit stubborn, but I trust my intuition more and more and more. Page 49, never use cruel sarcasm. Sarcasm is a dark energy, it's dark psychology. Downgrading humor, downgrading jokes towards others, especially in groups, is very, very bad. Sarcasm, sarcastic smiles. I remember German soldiers had sarcasm, smiles, and jokes towards the Jews in Second World War, and sarcasm could lead to physical violence and extinction. So sarcasm, dark humor, stay away from that. Yourself, it's very bad for karma, but also if you're confronted with sarcasm, go away. I know it's not easy if you're in high school and you are in the matrix and you cannot escape from that dynamics, but if you're confronted with dark sarcasm, cruel sarcasm, stay away from that energy. Page 19.3, meditation and contemplation is deep and deep concentration. I concentrate on my inner 7 centers. Whatever I do, I contemplate on these 7 centers. When I meditate, I try to focus and concentrate on these 7 centers. Buddha called that the jumping the chakras method. He was jumping from his crown chakra, jumping from his third eye, jumping the 3 hearts on a row in your middle area, jumping the 2 powerful healing palm chakras. So jumping the chakras, or be there in once, be there in that line in your body, and jumping them will cause opening up. So focusing on that line, they call that also the Amrita Nadi line. Google it. The Amrita Nadi line is the river of consciousness in your body. So awakening is nothing more than the deepest form of concentration. The deepest form of concentration is to be there, whatever you do and what kind of activity you are doing. And on page 113, you feel the nectar. In the Bible, they talk also about sweet and nectar. Nectar is the sweet taste of Christ consciousness. It's the sweet taste of the ecstatic feelings inside. It's the deep taste of the 7 centers in your body, with the most wonderful feeling is the crown chakra awareness. That's the most ecstatic feeling you can have on earth, I think. So the crown chakra is the bonus, is the top tipping point, the top point of your spiritual inner body awakening. So the nectar, if you read nectar in the biblic text, in the religious text, is nectar, is sweet, is the same, is synonym as the ecstaticness you can feel in your inner body awakening. Page 142 is orderliness. It's a wonderful sentence. It's the same as discipline. Yogananda say orderliness. Your life has to be in order. Your life has to be in a kind of structure. You have to find your career passion, your relationships has to be stable, your way of intimacy life kind of stable. You know your path in life, your time structure during the day. Orderliness is a very important term I found in the work of Yogananda. Orderliness causes enlightenment. Without order and structure during the day, you are nowhere. Orderliness is important. Without orderliness, and here the bridge is coming towards 146, page 146, without orderliness, the speedway of incarnation is far away. Going into spirituality is escaping the crowd consciousness, is escaping the crowd consciousness development. If you're going into spiritual awakening, you are 1,000 years before your time. Humanity is not yet there. When you're going into spirituality, you're going on the speedway of incarnations, and you break through the spiritual calibrated frequencies development of the crowd. The crowd grows slowly, 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 with downfalls and peaks, and I break with you in my coaching sessions, or if you're following me, I try to break that development. I try to break the incarnation circles there are and I bring your soul to a higher spiritual realm. I bring it to a higher planetary level. The Speedway of Incarnations will I will bring that to you, or we try to reach that. So there's a very interesting sentence of Yogananda is breaking through that incarnation cycles and going on a higher frequency than the behind people. And then the next bridge, you come home together. You found home. You found really, really home. If you feel the rising ecstaticness in your inner centered 3 hearts on a row feelings, you probably we're going through all the cycles of development, what you can do in society. So you move through the matrix and you're tipping out of the matrix when you touch your heart chakra and you feel the rising ecstaticness there and you think, what the fuck is happening here? I feel something what I cannot explain, and you feel the first starts of your enlightenment process, and you think, what the fuck, why I didn't discover this earlier? Because you had to go to the stages of the matrix, and only the chosen fews, the chosen ones who were going through all the cycles of the matrix developments, coming ultimately to the Maslow top development, is enlightenment. That's the last stage, right? So the last stage is enlightenment to reach your goals. You had maybe your business goals, your family goals, your intimacy goals, your shelter goals, your food goals. You can survive. And if you're going maybe to the society, maybe some politics, maybe taking care of your surroundings, and then if you go into all those stages, there are only the last stage waiting for you, and that's spiritual awakening. And then you come home. After you're traveling in the matrix, you come home. You come really, really home for the first time in your life. You become centered. You become centered home. Before that time, you were lost. You didn't know your direction. You were too much pressed and shaped and conditioned by the matrix conditionings, by the system. And you have to break through. You have to break through to find that free will, and to break through to grow further into the evolutionary stages when you ultimately found home. And that's, I think, the nice ending of this book report. Thank you, and I see you by the next one. Bye bye.